Hello and welcome to my video review of the LEGO Star Wars 2022 Hoth Atst set number 75322. Ages 9 plus, 586 pieces. And let's dig in. So inside you'll find 4 numbered bags. I'm just going to set the other 3 off to the side. We're going to start with bag number 1. Alright. Just angle this so we can see what we're doing here. Ah, right like that. That should be good right there. Make sure pieces falling off the desk as I'm doing this. Alright, to start out with, we're building Chewbacca. He has a bowcaster that has a stud shooter on it. So there's Chewbacca and his stud shooter bowcaster. Let me just hold this still. The camera picks it up. It's not really in focus there. I think you get the idea though. We're just gonna scoot this forward just a little bit. Tilt it down, right like that. That should be good. Give that one more try. Yeah, there we go. Still not really in focus there. But let's move on. Now we're building the probe droid. And this probe droid has a very, very nice design. It is very well designed. I was actually quite surprised at the level of detail they managed to pull off on such a small build. So this probe droid and Chewbacca, you can kind of recreate the opening scene of The Empire Strikes Back. If you had a Han Solo, it'd make it nice. Han Solo with the Hoth gear, snow gear. But he's not included in this set, just Chewbacca and the probe droid for that, if you want to recreate that scene. Interesting to note, though, that the Atst itself was only included in a deleted scene in The Empire Strikes Back. And then later when they went and made the special editions, they included that deleted scene. And I guess they had to do some enhancing to it, some enhancements to that deleted scene for it to work. Maybe not. But it's just kind of a random scene of an ATST, during the Battle of Hoth. Just a random scene of an ATST walking around. Very, very brief. But I do remember a Star Wars game from Chuck E. Cheese's. This was decades ago. And it was like the only thing I actually enjoyed doing when I was there. When I'd go there as a kid, I would play this Star Wars game that they had. And I remember there was a Hoth level. It was more of a rail shooter. And there was just a ton of Hoth ATSTs. Like, you would just destroy ATST after ATST. I mean, there was dozens of them. So that's where I really remember this thing from. Of course, you have its Endor equivalent, which has shorter legs. But that Chuck E. Cheese game from back in the day, and that Hoth level is what I'm really reminded of when I see these things. And I already built one of these beforehand. This will be my second one, and then I have a third one still boxed. So at some point I'll build the other one, and then I'll show all three of them. I'm gonna do a little bit of modifications. Modify them a little bit. Try not to take too long with this video because I have a tendency to take my good old time and yap a bit, but I don't want to drag this on too long. Can't really push all these parts in all the way. These these little bulb pieces, they don't go in all the way because the bar sticks through too far. So you don't want to push them in all the way. You just want to put them on it just enough so that they hold. Alright, what am I missing here? Am I missing anything? Looks like I have everything. Alright. For these bars, I like to just stick them upside down and push. It's much easier. Alright. Hold on a second. Alright. Dark gray battle droid arm there, and then you have one of these small skeleton arms in black. Which actually, these battle droid arms have a bad habit of breaking over time when you leave them clipped. Hopefully they've corrected on that. I haven't had too many issues lately with newer ones, but a lot of my older ones are broken by now. It's actually faster to build when I don't have to have it positioned for recording. So I'm still getting used to building with my arms extended because I can't sit too close to the desk. Or else I'll block the view of what I'm building. So I'm still getting used to that, but as bad as first few videos that I did. Getting the hang of it. Alright, the probe droid is complete. All around an excellent design. Let me bring this closer to the camera. Look at that. Just spot on. Just absolutely spot on. Very, very nice design. Now on to the Atst. Starting by building the body. And this goes faster than all the little small builds. Those little intricate small builds take a bit of time. Yeah. Yeah, older Lego instructions used to have more steps per page. It's a trend now with newer sets that they only have a few things added. You know, you only add a few things per page. So instruction booklets are quite larger than they were in the past, for, you know, given the size of each build. Like, relative to the size of each build. Because I remember in the past, a set this size, or a set with 586 pieces, would have significantly smaller instruction booklets and more steps per page, but I guess they figure this makes it easier for people. Just for young builders. Less confusion involved. Now we're adding the knob mechanism that turns the head. That's all this does, it just turns the head. Doesn't swivel the feet. Feet don't really have too much, or the legs should I say, don't really have too much posability. Just the head swivels. Add in the gears. Right like that. Snaps right into place. Put this gear on top. Followed by this. And then this. Oh! I'm gonna put this on first. And that goes in there, and you can see that turns that. Flip it over to the back. this pearl gray grill tile that goes here. Just on this side, not on the other side. A lot of little greeblies on here. Some nice details on the front. Bend down like that. Alright, like that. So right here you get a paint roller in light bluish gray. Just used as extra greebling. It's a nice added touch. I think they did a nice job with the greebling on this set. Some spots look a little bit unfinished, but they're mostly hidden. Here, I like to... On tiles like this, you get little mold flashes here where the ABS part came out of the mold. I like to hide those. I like to turn them inward to hide them. But yeah, as I was saying, most of the spots that look unfinished, like this, right here, you don't really see it. Alright. So that's it with book 1. Now we're just gonna set all this off to the side. Or should I say bag 1? Did I say book 1? Well, now we're on to bag 2. Alright, and we have the Atsc Pilot. It's 2 different faces. With the normal smiling face. Got a small blaster pistol. Alright. clip here. One more, there it is. My phone alarm's going off, but I'm just gonna ignore it because it's downstairs and we are upstairs. I was supposed to put these on the underside as well. I mean, let's be honest, there's always something that happens when you're recording, when you're on camera. There's always something crazy going on in the background. Alarms going off, vehicles off in the distance with their mufflers going. That's to be expected. Always something, always interesting to see what comes next. I don't know if I've ever had a recording or been on camera without something crazy going off in the background at some point. And out here, I mean, it's generally quiet out in the country, but every now and then you have that guy driving his motorcycle or truck or whatever down the road with the muffler going off, and it's the loudest thing in the world. At 3 or 4 a.m. It's always when you're doing something. It's either when you're trying to sleep or when you're in the middle of recording a video or something. It's always when the crazy stuff happens, the loud noises and these are a nice addition, these Technic pins. They have two long axles attached. It's a pin at one end and two long axle at the other end. So I mean, even if you're just buying this set just for the parts, it has a load of good, useful parts. Like, very versatile. Not really any specialized pieces in this at all. It's highly versatile. Can be parted out and the parts reused for just about anything. And the price per piece ratio is good too. Because you want to stay, I mean, the rule of thumb is generally that you want to stay below 10 cents per piece. And, you know, 586 pieces at $50, it's very reasonable. Stays below that threshold, which is rare for a licensed set too. Which is rare, you know, it's rare for a Star Wars set nowadays, because normally they're above that 10 cents per piece ratio, especially now after, you know, after Disney took over, and I'd imagine they have to pay them more than they had to pay Lucasfilm in the past for the licensing. And there's also inflation involved, but despite all that, yeah, this stays below that 10 cents per piece threshold, which is very nice. And includes all useful pieces. I can't think of a single piece in this that doesn't have good generic use elsewhere. No specialized parts at all. You got this nice, there's a lot of nice Technic structures in this too. At this point, I don't really see a reason to distinguish standard Lego elements from Technic elements, because it's all cross-compatible, it's all useful. You know, over time you've had this marriage of system elements with Technic elements to the point where it's just indistinguishable. You know, you're always going to use Technic parts in a lot of these Star Wars builds, and it just adds to the structural integrity, and I think that it makes the building experience more enjoyable too. Because in the past, some of those early Star Wars sets didn't have too many Technic parts. They had some. I remember the first ATST set, that Endor ATST, had Chewbacca with it. The legs actually pivoted on Technic beams. I believe they were 6 long. No, they were 7, I think. Because in the centers you had 2x2 tiles with the Technic pin sticking up. And that's where the Technic beams connected. So yeah, I think anyway that they were 7 long Technic beams that allowed the very first ATST set's legs to pivot. And that's just going from memory. But I distinctly remember that Technic elements weren't too common in system sets back then. Not nearly as common as they are now. Now it's just, there's no point to really distinguish the two. It's just all Lego elements. So now we're building the face of the ATST. Oh wait, no, this is the back, I'm sorry. This is the back of the ATST. Because the face has one of these in the center. Now we're on to the chin cannons. Put these on backwards, yes I did. I always manage to catch my mistakes right away. Miraculously. See, there's nothing wrong with making mistakes from time to time, especially if you catch them right away. So if there's a superpower that I have, it's catching my mistakes right away, and not way later, not when the whole thing's done. But I still make mistakes. You know, even after all these years upon decades of building. I'm just, you know, as a kid, I just built Legos non-stop. Yeah, I just said Legos. I know it's a lot of people nitpick over that. They say it's Lego elements or just Lego singular. I don't know. I don't nitpick over tiny little things like that. I have probably 20 or 30,000 hours worth of building time under my belt, and I still say Legos. Like all the regular folks. Alright. Now we're on to bag number 3. Let's get these out of the way. Doing this with my arms outstretched just makes it slightly more challenging. So we're working on the feet now. Shouldn't take too long, since there aren't really that many tiny elements. A lot of useful pieces like these. Odd choice of colors here and there. I don't know why the dark tan is here. I don't notice it in any of the reference pictures, but I'd have to take a closer look. Which actually have a model kit, at least of the Endor Atst, not of the Hoth Atst, but I have a one of those model kits that's pretty faithful to the ILM model, the original ILM model, that I'm going to build one of these days, and maybe I'll do a comparison. I actually got it for the sole purpose of making a very highly detailed ATST mock, but I've yet to get around to that. Okay, let's just make sure I didn't miss any steps. But yeah, once I build that, I think it's a Hasbro model kit. Once I build that, it'll be a very good source, like a very good reference for when I go to build my mock ATSTs. Because you'll be able to notice a lot of detail that is otherwise mostly unnoticeable from the pictures, from the movie stills and whatnot. I always like having a reference model on hand when I build, you know, mocks, like Lego stuff. I build my own creations. Sure I didn't miss anything. Technic Axles being caught on the instruction booklet. There we are. A lot of droid parts in this set. Just add extra detail. A lot of Technic pins on this step. Make sure you don't miss any. Yes, if you haven't picked up on it by now, my phone is buzzing like crazy in the background, but it's on the floor below. But you can still hear it from all the way up here. And the song that's playing is Enya, Only Time. Just on repeat because the alarm's going. I think it does that for like an hour straight with that alarm. But I'm not even going to bother going down there to turn it off. Let's make sure this is right. No, I got that backwards. It's 4 a.m. now. Well, a little past 4 a.m. which is normally the time I get up for work. So that's when I have my alarm set. That'll stay. Just turn this around like that. Add this in. We bend this down. How do we do this again? Right like that. And eventually it reaches a point where it stops. Right like that. You can't adjust it any further than that. But you could always modify it. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. Maybe add some ball joints in there. But the design as is sturdy. It's not very posable, but it's sturdy. And that attaches right here, right like that. You want to make sure this Technic beam goes in there. We're good. We're golden. Got the first leg on there. Oh, did I include that? Or did I miss that? No, I got it. Alright. Now we're on to the right leg. Or should I say right foot? So yeah, the Lego sets nowadays might not be the most detailed or accurate renditions out there. They don't have as much posability as, say, a Mach would, where you'd have ball joints, but they really take their time to make sure that what they're creating is sturdy and that it holds up over the long run. That, because the set's ages 9 plus, that when you have a 9-year-old kid playing with it, it's not going to fall apart. But I wouldn't necessarily say that this is for children. Children are not the target audiences of my videos, I'm sorry to say. It's more for AFOLs. But, when you look at it from Lego's side of things, from their business model, they want to try to sell as many as possible. That's why this isn't ages 16 plus. It would be nice having a more detailed one of these. Almost like a, not UCS scale, but then you think, what else can they really do as far as a set goes? Because when you build Machs, you don't have to have that strict of requirements for structural integrity. You can do all sorts of illegal techniques to get your build more detailed and more accurate that they otherwise can't do with an official set. But yeah, I definitely see this as something that AFOLs can enjoy, that adults probably enjoy more than anyone for the nostalgia factor, because they remember this vehicle, at least from the special editions, where it was in that 1 or 2 deleted scenes. Make sure I did this correctly. Yes. like how it says in the instructions, it says click in like 7 different languages. Why does this feel off? Is it off? Oh, because this isn't bent down yet. Huh. Let me just make sure I put that on there, right? Yeah, I did. I don't know. Just something about the angle in the instruction booklet throws me off. Alright, now we bend this down. Right like that. Alright, now we're on to bag 4, which is the final bag. And some interesting pieces to note. These right here. So these 6 long wedge plates were actually in the Hoth Atst Walker set. But now we get a few more here. And these are new. These are new parts. And for this set, I believe it's a new color for this set. I mean, they were released, I think, in red beforehand. Maybe a few other colors, but yeah, it's a very new part. It's sort of a dish. You know those dish pieces, the 4x4 dishes? But it has anti-stud elements on the bottom, like plate-like elements, so you can incorporate it better into plates. But just something that's noteworthy for this set. So, moving on, we're gonna build the Rebel Trooper. Spare set of glasses there. And his head fell on the floor. Let me get that. Hold on a second. Does that get to? I have no idea. His head went to the Atsc Planet, so I'll find that after the video. So here's the headless Rebel Trooper. Head fell on the floor. His blaster. Does he get a standard blaster? Yeah, it looks like it. Here, we gotta give him his weapon. Or is it a her? Oh yeah, actually it's a female. Oh no, it's a ghost or something. Because I just don't have time to look for that head. Who knows what happened to it. Like I said, it went to the Atsc Planet. It seems like when things fall on the floor for me, they just get zapped into another dimension, and I find them several weeks later. So my floor has just a lot of Lego elements scattered about on it. There's just a lot of works in progress, and the parts are just scattered about the floor, so it's probably mixed in somewhere. All these wedge... It's like anytime you need a left wedge plate, it's like you see all the right ones, but you never see the left. There we go. Or vice versa. why won't this go on? Ah. I put this one wrong. There we go. Yeah, I really like these new wedge plate pieces. These 6x2 wedge plates. They're just smaller versions of the 12 long ones that were originally in the old, very first V-Wing Starfighter set. It had a bunch of them. They're just shortened versions of those, you know, half the length, which is nice. They just kind of fill in a gap that's been missing for a while with wedge plates. So I can honestly say that I'm very appreciative of a lot of these new elements. Anytime new elements like that are released, it's just, you know, you have the people who complain, oh, they didn't need this, or, you know, whatever, but not me. I'm just like, hey, another new element. I check the site New Elementary a lot. Like, I'm constantly checking that site to see what new elements are released. Because I'm always mocking. And every now and then I stumble across certain parts where I'm just like, I wish, you know, there was a piece for this or such and such. And lo and behold, it's like my dreams come true eventually. But I'm definitely supportive of new elements, especially when they have a lot of generic use. You know, not specialized elements, but just stuff like this, or this, that you can just use anywhere. You know, you always have the complainers, the people who complain about nice things or new things, but you have that with anything. A lot of times those people who complain about new parts aren't even really that invested into the hobby. They're more casual about it. So they don't know what they're complaining about. These were another great addition, a couple years old now, these triangular tiles. Quarter tiles. I mean, they're kind of like, I don't want to say quarter tiles, I mean, because you can kind of do a square like that, you know, if you have four, but they're more like half diagonal tiles like that. So when these things were made, I was just very happy. Always looking forward to what comes next. Always checking New Elementary from time to time. Almost daily I check that site. Because I'm all over new... once a new element's released, you know, even if I'm not going to get the set that it's in, I'll go on Bricklink and I'll get some of it. There we go, we got the right side panel on. Alright, just had to check my camera real quick, make sure it's still going. See, this isn't a speed build by any means, it's just me taking my time and doing this for the viewer, not rushing through this. There we go. Sometimes it's like playing Where's Waldo. Remember those picture books from way back when? I believe in Europe they were called Where's Wally, but over here they're called Where's Waldo. Sometimes it's like that with Lego pieces. You're just looking for that one piece and you can't find it. It's like it's hiding in a crowd. We're almost done though. We're on the home stretch here. And every time you build something you get faster at it, so maybe I'll do the next one, it'll be more of a speed build. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Alright. Put this on here. Interesting to note that these are just held on by these little red 1x1 tiles with a bar sticking up. Just kind of loosely resting in there, but it's nice technique for added stability. Keeps the panels in place. On backwards. Of course. Half the time I'm not even paying attention. I just kind of run on autopilot and just kind of assume one thing, and then I'm like, oh, in the head here. And this goes here. I'm just gonna go ahead and put his blaster pistol in the holder here. I don't know why it would need to be in his hand while he's piloting it. Now we have the front with the eyes. It's on the Hoth Atst version. The eye hatches are closed. You know, on the regular Atst, these are open. I personally think these would look better in light bluish gray, but I guess they did this to really distinguish it, to really show that that's where the eye hatches are, or the eye holes. So I guess that's why they used that color variation there, but I started modding the first Hoth Atst I built, and I changed these out to light bluish gray. So I'll show those in a follow-up video sometime. I'll show the mods to this. Just to make it look a little more accurate. But even so, this isn't bad at all. This looks nice. Now we're adding the side cannon, right side cannon. And now the left side cannon. Almost done here. On the home stretch. I like how this sword is used here. Fencing sword. That's that. Now we're adding the top section with the top hatch. And this won't take long at all. Oh, it is so past my bedtime. It's like actually the time I would normally wake up. Past the time I would normally wake up. Doesn't matter to me though. Makes no difference to me. Go back to work tomorrow, but I'm used to jet lag. It's not a big issue. Very, very close to being finished here. I kind of wish they would have put handlebars around the entire thing. And the actual Atst has the handlebars going around the whole perimeter of the hatch, but they just have them on the sides here. So it's not the most accurate model in the world, but there's a lot of room for modification, easy modification that you can do. And I'll show in a following video my take on it, my modifications, just to get it a little more screen accurate. And there's the hatch, which I guess if it were to be to scale, the hatch would be 3 studs in diameter, which can be done now with newer parts. But I guess this is sturdier. And that's that. Hatch is on. Comes with a spare one of these. We load her up. Spring-loaded missiles. Right like that. All done. Let's put the pilot in. Atst driver, Atsc Pilot, whatever you want to call them. And there we go, look at that. All done. Let's get this in view. Looks better in person than it does on camera. The hatch that opens. So yeah, this mechanism in the back turns the head. That's about it as far as play features go. I mean, you have the hatch, and then you have the guns that pivot. So there's that. Very good set, very good price for piece ratio, totally worth it, 100% recommend it, 10 out of 10. Go buy it.